This is Ibrox.
It takes on nicely the fact that he did leave the club. I think your sort of chances of the team became limited a wee bit. So did that make it a kind of easy decision for you? Was it one that suited both you and the club at the time, or how did that come about?
Well, I never had any aspirations of leaving, because I remember coming back pre-season that year, and Dick had says to me that I came back in great nick. It's something I've always done, to be honest. When I've went away pre-season, I've normally always put the work in close season to make sure I come back ready, like to attack pre-season. And I came back in good nick, and Dick had actually says to me that I was probably ahead of some of the older guys, so your De Boers and your Michael Moses, and I was actually probably ahead of them in the pecking order. I think I scored quite a few goals in the pre-season games as well. So we signed Caniggia that year as well, so there was another forward player he had to the list, as well as Russell Latapi, a player who had played with Hibs that I knew really well. So again, two wonderful attacking options for us, and again another just two guys for me to compete with. But like I said, I came back, I started pretty well. First game of the season, we were away at Pittodrie, and we were getting beaten 0, I think it was 0-0 actually, and when I came on for the last 20 minutes, half an hour, we won 3-0, and I pretty much had a hand in all the goals. Mm-hmm. So I'd made an impact in the game as a sub, and then the following week I wasn't even in the 18 or 16 or the 14, whatever it was back then, I'm not sure, but I was in the stand anyway, I remember that. So it was a bit disappointing. It was a bit disappointing, to say the least, considering I'd had a good pre-season. I'd came on in the first league game and made an impact, and it was a big win, as you know what the games up at Pittodrie are like, particularly the opening game of the season. It was a big occasion. We won 3-0 and I played my part in that, so it was disappointing not to be involved in the next week. I think after that we were away on international duty. I was away with the 21s, and as I was on the way back, my agent was Gordon Smith at the time, and he was on the trip.
Right.
And he came to me just before we were flying back to say, look, he's had a chat with Wolves and they would be keen to take me on loan. This is something that I hadn't been looking for. Mm-hmm. This was just one of these things that was an option that was put in front of me there, and I thought, okay, well, had a wee look at, again, never knew too much about Wolves at the time, had a wee look at it, thought, okay, they're a big club playing at a good level. If the club are agreeing to it, then obviously maybe no see me as part of the playing group moving forward, or as much as I would like anyway. Which that's ultimately what it was. I went and seen Dick the next day, and he says, "Look, if you want to do it, we'll no stand your way. Obviously, competition is fierce." Yeah. So that's enough for me. I've always been someone, if I'm not playing, I've always just wanted to play. I'm not going to sit about and pick my money up. I've always wanted to play. Hence, that's why I ended up playing, I don't know, almost 900 games over for club and country over the course of my career. So if I wasn't getting a game, then I wanted to move on to somewhere where I was going to get a game. So went on loan initially, and then I injured my collarbone. I was on the bench the first 2 games for Wolves, started the next 3, scored 2, and in the third game I got injured, broke my collarbone. So I was back up the road, got the operation back up in Glasgow, done a bit of the rehab in Murray Park, had just opened that year.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst I was injured, I was in contact with Wolves, and they said they wanted to sign me. They wanted to make it a permanent move. And the story goes that they accepted a £3 million bid, which I thought, yep, okay, that's fair enough. If that's been kind of accepted, then they'll go. And the chairman phoned me to say, look, we're changing the manager. So it was obviously the changeover in manager. Maybe just wait. Let's just wait. We'll not accept it yet. Let's just wait to see what the new manager does. So when he said that, I knew it was going to be Alex. Obviously, it had been rumoured that he was coming in, and he was doing a fantastic job at Hibs. So he was going to be getting the job. So I thought, right, okay. He kind of gave me my breakthrough at Rangers, and I think the chairman even thought, right, that he would probably maybe want to keep me around because of obviously our previous working relationship. So the next day, Alex McLeish is in, and chairman phoned me and told me I could go. So
he didn't fancy.
He didn't fancy me. He didn't want to keep me. So that was me. That was good enough for me. So we Colin Cameron actually had just signed for Wolves from Hearts at the same time. So he'd been away with the full squad. I was away with the 21. So the next kind of day, the two, I think that was the Wednesday night we were back. The Thursday I went to see Dick. The Friday we drove down to Wolves, or the Thursday night actually we drove down to Wolves. together, and that was that. So I actually never got a chance to see anybody before I went on. Before I actually moved. But I think we were playing at Barnsley away one night at Wolves, Tuesday night. We were sitting on the Monday night, we were in a hotel, and Alex actually phoned me, but it was about 4 to 6 weeks after I came in. I hadn't expected it. Listen, I never knew the number. It was a Whitfield number. I never knew who it was. So I'm picked up and said, Kenny, it's Gaffer. It's Gaffer. I'm thinking, who's Gaffer? It's Alex McLeish. I went, Gaffer, how you doing? I went, listen, sorry, and I got a chance to speak to you, but listen, it was all the players we've got, and it was a concrete offer on the table, fucking like too good to turn down, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I said, listen, I went, you'll sign me back. You'll try and sign me back in a few years, but sure enough, he did, and then never happened. And then a few years later, obviously, I got the chance to come back. So it's so he got rid of me on his first day in the job.
It's funny how football works, isn't it? But obviously, you go to Wolves and try and keep this Rangers like as possible. But I can't brush over the fact that you scored in the final, the playoff final.
Yeah. Was I? Well, we were 3-0. We were 3-0 up at half time. I scored just before half time to make it 3-0. So it was we were almost there at half time. So it was good. It was, listen, I had 5 years there. It was 5 years. Brilliant times, good mates. Got to play in the Premier League. Had a couple of good moments in that year as well. Winner against Man United. 3 days later, a last-minute equaliser against Liverpool. Some great memories, it's like real good times over that spell.
And see that playoff final, that was the old Wembley, or was that the new Wembley?
Well, that was at the Millennium. We had it at the Millennium.
Was it? I was thinking if that was the old Wembley, that meant you scored at the old and the new. Yeah. I was trying to give you a good start there, but nah, never.
Fire's raging, I'm shaking. You wanna go out? I wanna stay in. Why?